Mums with Hustle podcast, episode 479.
Welcome to the Mums with Hustle podcast, where you'll discover everyday mum entrepreneurs killing it in their industry. Learn the secrets you can replicate to create your own success with your host, Tracy Harris.
Welcome back to another episode of the Mums with Hustle podcast. I hosted a beautiful event in Sydney at the very end of March. I think it was March 28th. It was actually in collaboration and partnership with a not-for-profit that I've partnered with for several years now as a core monthly contributor or donor or member. And that organization is called Forever Projects, and they support women and mothers in Tanzania to help them create a self-sustaining future for themselves and their children, which basically means they're teaching them business skills and entrepreneurship skills. They're helping them start a small personal enterprise, like a business that helps generate reliable revenue for them and income for their family, which enables them to not have to give their children up for adoption. At the end of the day, that is the crisis in Tanzania being faced by women, mothers, and families. These women don't want to have to give their children up for adoption at all. But when they are unable to feed their babies or when they are no longer able to lactate because of malnourishment or illness themselves as mothers, that is ultimately the nightmare that these women are faced with. So Forever Projects is supporting these women, not just with medical care and lactation support, but also by teaching them how to start a business so that they can have a self-sustaining future. So I have been donating monthly for years to Forever Projects as one of their core members. And the other day I hosted this event in Sydney. Now, I say the other day because at the time of this recording, it's only the 1st of April. I'm recording this on the 1st of April. And I wanted to share with you my key talk, my presentation that I shared with the people in attendance at this event in Sydney at the end of March. Now, to give you some context, this was an event really just using the spotlight of International Women's Day, where the theme was March Forward. And as a female founder and as a mother, I really wanted to bring together a group of women in person because I believe that we are all just starving for more in-person events. And so to be able to host this in partnership with Forever Projects and with Canva in Sydney at the Canva space in Surrey Hills was just incredible. So if you were there, I adore you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you on behalf of Forever Projects as well for coming along, because 100% of your ticket was received by Forever Projects as a donation, and 100% of all their donations go to the women themselves in Tanzania. 100%. And the reason that they can do that is because founders like myself donate a large sum every month, which covers the operational costs, including people's wages and all of the other things, the systems, the processes, the resources, the formula, the education, the training, like everything is covered by people like myself who donate every single month. And then what that allows is anyone who donates to Forever Projects, like yourselves or like the women that purchased a ticket, that enables 100% of that to go to the women in Tanzania. So I just love being a part of this because to me, these women are just like us. They're female founders, they're mothers, they're women, but their success and their livelihood or what's at stake for them is just so much greater than what's at stake for us. If our businesses don't do well, we're not faced with things like, do we have to give our kids up for adoption? So the situation is similar, but the consequences are far different. And that's because we live in a world of opportunity and privilege. And so giving back for me is such a beautiful and special part of being a female founder here in this Western world. And it's an honor and a gift to be able to give. And that's possible because of all of you ladies that are inside of my programs and who choose me as your mentor. And it enables, as we grow in our business, it enables us to give more. And I just love that. So again, huge thank you to the people that purchased a ticket and came along. And just thank you to everyone for listening to this podcast, for sharing, for following me on socials, for just allowing me to have the reach and the type of business that I have, because then I get to be even more generous and abundant with organizations like Forever Projects. And we're all part of this, the ripple effects are just massive. And I just am so, so grateful for every single one of you. So thank you for being here. And I wanted to give back and share my key talk from this session, which is all about curating greater levels of confidence. And no matter where you are at, whether you are someone who is in a 9-to-5, or maybe you've just had your kids and you're thinking, oh, should I start a business? Maybe you're not at the beginning. Maybe you are so seasoned. I've got women in this community, women inside of my programs that have had businesses for longer than I have. They've been entrepreneurs almost since they crawled out of the womb. People that have had businesses for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years beyond in this community listening to this podcast. But confidence isn't something that ever needs to stop being curated and cultivated. It's a different type of confidence to be able to pitch yourself to go on someone's podcast. It's a different type of confidence required to be able to put your prices up. It's a different type of confidence to be able to start an Instagram account and start doing talking head video reels. It's a different type of confidence to be able to hire the best people to be on your team and lead those individuals, give them constructive feedback, coach and mentor those people to greatness. At any level and any stage, we are required to have confidence and to be confident women and confident leaders. And the ripple effects of that on all of the people in the lives that we touch is massive. And when it comes to confidence, you can't give what you haven't got. People in your sphere only benefit from your overflow of confidence. So you need to fill your cup with confidence, absolutely, to the point where it is up to the brim and it is overflowing. And the people in your life, your customers, your children, your husband, your best friends, the people in your local community, people in your church community, people online, your clients, your team, everybody else gets the excess. Everybody else gets the overflow. So yeah, can we all do with a confidence boost? Absolutely. At any stage, new level, new devil, new level of confidence required. So with that being said, here is my key talk from my beautiful event with Forever Project and Canva in Sydney. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you would like to make a one-off donation to Forever Projects, know that 100% of it goes to the women in Tanzania. And if you want to become a core monthly member, meaning you want to do what I'm doing, you want your business to give back every single month to the operational costs of Forever Projects, you can get more information at the link provided in the show notes. Just go to foreverprojects.org. There you go. Make sure that you go there, foreverprojects.org. But like I said, I'm going to pop the link into the show notes for you to make it nice and easy.
Well, my confidence was honestly smaller than a grain of sand. I feel like it wasn't even a grain of sand. And they tried to take it away. I've got some apples here today. Can we get someone to hand out some of these apples? Thanks, Mark. Just pass them around. What happens to an apple when we just leave it on a bench? If we took one of these apples and we just put it on the kitchen bench and we just left it and did nothing, what's going to happen? It's going to go brown. What else is going to happen? Decay. It's going to decay. It's going to rot. If we just leave that apple there and we do nothing to it, it's going to rot. Ever noticed how you can have a garden, happens to your physical body when you do nothing? What happens? You do nothing. You don't move it. Heard that saying, you move it, you lose it? Yeah? What happens to our bodies when we don't do anything? When we don't care for it? I'm just going to pick on the gym owner in the room. Well, a lot happens. And when you move the body, you move the mind, you feel good about yourself. All those endorphins happens. When you don't, you feel stale, you feel unconfident, you feel shallow, you feel dark. There's a lot that goes with that. There's a lot mentally that goes with that. There's a lot physically with our physical health. Okay. I was going to pick on the teenage boys, but I won't do that. What happens when we don't bathe? You know, you do nothing with your bodily hygiene. Someone said it over there. You get stinky. Yeah, it's gross. Scurvy. Think of those pirates. Yeah, you don't have to do anything. You don't need to bathe, and yet change happens. You get stinky. You get sick. There's a principle called entropy that says that everything naturally moves towards disorder and decay unless effort is applied. So it takes no effort for the weeds to just appear in the garden, but it takes effort for it to be beautiful and for it to flourish. And the same thing with our physical bodies. We leave the apple on the bench, we do nothing, entropy happens, it rots. Stagnation. In Chinese medicine, they teach that stagnation leads to disease. All disease in the body is a result of stagnation, something getting stuck, something rotting, something festering, something is not right. And this applies to life, to lost dreams in business, to missed opportunities, and to ultimately living a life of regret. When we don't take action, we don't learn anything new. We don't create anything positive. We decline. We rot. We get stinky. We get disease, dis-ease. And it doesn't feel good. And that's why confidence requires moving. It requires momentum. It requires doing. We have to take action. We have to actually do something. We don't get to sit there and do nothing. Confidence is the byproduct of doing something. But most of us wait for confidence to arrive before we do something. We wait for, I'll do that when I know enough about this. Or I'll join the gym when I look fit enough. Or I'll launch the business when I have the certification. We're always waiting for something, but confidence comes from doing the thing terrified. It doesn't come from waiting until you believe in yourself. It comes from acting before you do. And please don't think that anyone that you see out there doing great things, Tracy moving to Bali with her family, all these lovely things, that she's not terrified, even in that process. But we know that great things come from taking action and never from waiting for conditions to be perfect or to have your ducks in a row or for someone else to validate that it's a great idea. Confidence comes from taking action, messy, imperfect action. So this is me, Tracy, with little to no confidence. I don't know why, but she decided it would be a great time to start a business when she was diagnosed with clinical anxiety, depression, and acute stress, seeing a psychologist every 2 weeks, and then eventually having it spaced out to every month, but deciding to start a business at that time. No idea what I was doing. No one on the team, apart from my awesome husband, who would sneakily make me some graphics that looked really professional like this on the train whilst he was commuting to work. And we were like, that'll do. So this is the first logo ever, the first podcast cover ever, episode 000. I was so excited. Every person that followed along, I was counting them all, not from a place of collecting followers, but pretty much in disbelief that anyone was interested, if I'm honest. And I'd do this little happy dance when I'd open Instagram and like, oh, it's a new follower. Or if there was someone that I followed and they followed me back, oh my gosh, it felt so good. Oh. And so I celebrated publicly on Instagram, shameless. I had 100 followers, everyone, like as if they cared. But they did care. People were kind. People cared. People said, congratulations, how cool. And that was the branding. No brand persona, no fancy anything, just starting. And then it was 200 followers and my creativity was like, let's inverse the colours of this one. They can be my brand colours. I like pink. You can scroll all the way down to the bottom of my feed because unlike most people, I've kept it all there. I want my cringe to be visible. I want my learning, my mistakes, my awkward captions, my terrible hashtags, everything to be visible. I'm so proud of it because I didn't wait for confidence. I started with zero confidence. And that, I think, is where most of us start. Hands up if you're like, no, I waited till I was fully confident. No. Who's that person? Get out. No, you can stay. It's all right. Okay. And so this is me recording the podcast. The eldest son there, he turns 11 tomorrow. My gosh. So it's going to be 10 years of this podcast. This year marks 10 years. Can't believe it. I mean, systems and processes. What are they? I didn't know what that was, but I did know Post-it notes. So this is my fancy Trello or Monday board, I guess. That's what it's become now. And it was just Tracy. I was my everything. I was the podcast everything. I was the community manager. I was literally all the things. And I would just write down a task on a Post-it. And I just moved along my little, okay, now I'm up to this. Okay, I have to email that person. Okay, cool. Oh, that person's episode is ready to be broadcast. Okay, cool. Have I done a social media post about that episode? Move it down. Yeah, okay, cool. That was my system. That was my process. That's all I knew. But we start with what we know. Or we start with what seems impossible. And then it's always impossible until it's done. Shout out to Nelson Mandela for that one. I didn't think of that. But it's always impossible until it's done. What have we got over here? My first Instagram giveaway. I had no idea what I was doing. I had 300 followers at the time. I decided to send a bunch of small business owners that were marketing on Instagram as well. And I said, I'm just keen to do my first giveaway. Do you want to be a part of it? And lots of people ignored me. And lots of people also said no. And lots of people said yes. And so we banded together and we did our first ever giveaway. I had no product to give away because I didn't have a physical product business. But I didn't let that stop me. I just said, I'll be the organizer. I'll pull us all together. You ladies give me your logos and I'll create the structure and the caption and all the things, and then we all just post at the same time. And I feel like we made I don't know, a couple of hundred followers each from banding together and not feeling like we had to do it alone. We were marching forward together. And then that took me to my fancy 500 followers over here where I thought, I like this gold. Confidence, clarity, cash. Who wants to make money in their business? Yes. We need it. Confidence, clarity, cash, and calm. Like having a calm nervous system. How undervalued is that in the world of business? It's like, okay, well, maybe people have confidence, clarity, and cash, but I'm not seeing enough calm and living out there. I'm seeing a lot of like frantic push energy, but I want the calm too. And all of those things come naturally when we as women live and lead through what I call the fresh framework. And so when you came in this afternoon, maybe you saw some leadership cards around the room with an invitation to take a card or have a conversation with somebody. And so I'm going to take you through what my fresh framework is just really briefly. Feel free to open up your books, take notes, feel free to take photos of any of these slides, but come back to it because the fresh framework is really what took me from that little grain of sand in terms of my confidence to the version that I am today. And it's not something that I did and then I stopped. It's something that I still actively practice in every moment of every day. So the fresh framework for an instant confidence boost is something that you can do every single day. And it begins with F. The F in fresh stands for fitness. I usually have in there fitness and then in brackets and nutrition because we need to be eating well for our body. We are leaders. If we're going to give confidence to others, we need to be better at leading ourselves in all aspects. So we're going to move our body because medicine also tells us that things that you don't use, like if you don't use your brain, if you don't use your muscles, that atrophies. That's the definition of move it or lose it. So we move our body daily because a stagnant body, remember stagnation creates disease. A stagnant body creates a stagnant mind. And motion breeds motivation, and that momentum is what creates confidence. So we move our bodies. And if you can start to move your body every day intentionally for 20 minutes at whatever pace, it doesn't always have to be like a HIIT style workout, super crazy, but just moving your body. It can be a walk, it can be dancing, it can be Pilates, it can be whatever, but consciously waking up every single day. And if you can do this in the morning, even better. Because now you get to carry all of those beautiful mood-boosting endorphins with you throughout the day into every interaction. The R in fresh is for your relationships. Never, ever, ever get so obsessed with building your business that you neglect the people that you love and that love you. And this is easy to do because we love our businesses. Anyone ever said, oh, my business is my baby? Anyone ever said that? I've said it. Yeah, it's not. I actually have human babies. And we can love our businesses and they are a creative thing. We do kind of give birth to our offers. It's fun. But may we never get so busy that we forget why we're even in existence, which is to be in relationship with other people. Whether that is your children, your husband, your parents, your siblings, your friends, your work, whether you are self-employed or not, your work is never as important as the core relationships that you are blessed to have. And none of us can afford to think that our lives and our health can't just be taken from us in an instant. So we need to always prioritize our relationships. There's an action there that says reflect on your boundaries with work. Like, get clear. Like, when are you no longer responding to emails? Those of you that run online communities or coaching programs, when is the off switch? Maybe someone does come into your membership and they ask a question and it's 8:00 at night. Do you feel this urgency to respond to that person? Or have you got a boundary that is like, no, I keep office hours? And believe me, when you set those boundaries, people that don't have boundaries themselves are not going to like it. They may challenge it. They may get upset. They may quit the program, whatever it is. But you cannot not have boundaries. The E in fresh stands for your environment and your energy. Your confidence is shaped by the people that you spend time with. It is so much easier to grow and to take risks when you're hanging around other people that are growth oriented and who are also taking risks. It is so much more difficult to grow when you are placing yourself in conditions that are the complete opposite, when people are risk averse, or where people never allow themselves to have fun or to grow or to change their mind or to say, actually, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm going to launch this other thing. It's really difficult to grow when you place yourself in the wrong environment. So environment matters. And I just want you to reflect, who are some of the people who make you feel limitless? Or when you say that you're going to try something new, who are the people that say, good on you? Yes, you can do that, even if it doesn't make sense. Those people are like diamonds. And one of the biggest ways that we can self-sabotage is that we remove ourselves from environments that are actually really great for us. And sometimes, I don't know, sometimes we do that because we don't quite realize the gift of the environment to begin with. Or maybe we think that there's something better out there. I don't know. But when you find a great environment or a workspace where you're thriving, like, cherish that, nurture it. The S is for self. Now, this is for self-care, but also the way that your self-talk. If your self-talk was broadcasted to the world, would you be proud of it? Would others be inspired? We need to become so slick, so great at catching our negative thoughts, because our brains are made with a negativity bias. No one's brain here is broken. Everyone's brain is made with a negativity bias, meaning 70% of the thoughts that you think are just going to be negative first. You have to know that. And then you have to fight against it with something that I call a pattern interrupt. That means it is intentionally going against the way that you are thinking in that moment. And that's why it feels really difficult and it's uncomfortable, because you want to go right, but you're going to go left. And it feels really difficult. Again, it's why the environment matters so much. If you place yourself in an environment where other people also know how the brain works, they can call you out of your own stuff. If you're someone that says, I can't do it, or I'm not ready yet, then your reframe would be, I can't do it yet. And I'm learning and growing every day. I'm getting better at it. You don't have to be able to do it in order to start. That's the opposite. That's waiting for the perfect moment. And then we've got our H for hustle, because we do actually have to do some work. But we don't need to work ourselves into the ground, and your hustle doesn't have to be hideous. You are responsible for it. You can grow at the pace of grace. You can treat it like a marathon. You can treat it like a sprint. But we do have to do the work, and we need to become better at trusting ourselves. And trusting ourselves happens when we start keeping the promises that we make to ourselves to begin with. So I want everyone to think of one task that they've been avoiding. whether it is at work or maybe you're the founder, what's one task that you've been kind of procrastinating, pushing to the back of the pile, and make a commitment to complete that thing. Do the scary thing. Brian Tracy calls that eating the frog. Anyone heard that before? Eat that frog. And if you can start your day by eating the frog, the hardest task first, you get this dopamine hit. You get this satisfying feeling of like, oh my gosh, today was so satisfying and it's only 9:30 in the morning because I sent that email that I didn't want to send. Or I followed up that lead and now they've signed up, or whatever it is. So start keeping the promises that you make to yourself and eat that frog every single day. Do the hard thing first. I started my business when I had confidence the size of a grain of sand. And they tried to take that from me. They even said, there is no way that she has mental health illness because she's starting a business. We can see her on Instagram. And that they wanted me to be like the apple that just sat there and rotted. And thank goodness I got help and I had an amazing psychologist that said, no, we're not going to stop. You're going to keep posting. You're going to keep doing your podcast. You're going to keep taking steps forward, because when you stop and do nothing, that's going to make everything worse. So I want everyone in this room to know, whether it is a new venture, a new offer, moving country, buying a house, investing in something, whatever it is that you want to do to reach for more, you don't have to be confident to do that. Let's normalize being terrified. Let's normalize not even having a good mindset. There's too much talk online about, oh, you just got to fix your mindset. No, you can do things broken, terrified, mentally ill. You just have to take action. That's the secret sauce. And you can take action feeling terrified and having all odds stacked against you. What would you do if you had 10 times the confidence? Like right now, check in with yourself. Every single one of us has something. What would you do? If you knew that you couldn't fail and you weren't worried about it not working out and money and time, or how's that person going to feel, or, oh no, that doesn't make sense, or you still haven't paid your HECS debt, you better get use of that degree for a little bit, otherwise mum and dad are going to be sad. What is it? If you had 10 times the confidence, what would you be doing?
And this is the outro. Thank you for listening to this week's episode. And it was a bit of a different one. It actually felt really cool to be able to get mic'd up and record this talk and then listen back to it and be like, yes, this works. I get to share this with my podcast community. So I hope that you loved it. And I'd love to know what you took away from it. And don't forget, go to foreverprojects.org if you wish to do a one-off donation. You know, all of our businesses are a vehicle for beautiful impact and for our purpose. And so giving generously as a business owner, I just think that that is something that heart-centered entrepreneurs do, mission-driven entrepreneurs do. So again, I hope you love the episode. I hope this encourages you to give generously and abundantly, just as a standard for you in your business, because giving sure does feel great. Take care, everybody, and I'll see you next week on the Mums with Hustle podcast.